I'm gonna show you my book collection as it is now. I made a video like this about a year ago, and so definitely go check that out if you want to see kind of like a before and after. I'll need to come up with some other sort of solution because this wall is completely full of books. And there are more right here too. This is one of the desks here in the space. It's right here next to the fire. I'm lucky enough to work from home, and this is where I spend most of my time, at the good old standing desk. This is my book stand. It was made by my grandfather, so I have no idea if you can buy it elsewhere or how much it might cost, but it's really just a lazy Susan that you can display books on. I spend most of my waking hours during the week in this room, and that's more than enough time, so let's get out of here. I want to go check out the bookshelf. Am I in frame? I hope so. Most of what's on the shelves, all of it actually, is organized alphabetically by the author's last name. Rails Under My Back, written by Jeffrey Renard Allen, who is one of my professors. I've got a copy of Lightlark. Meditations, of course. I got sent this copy of American Prometheus. A lot of Dan Brown. I feel like if you collect books long enough, you end up with a lot of copies of Dan Brown's books. I grew up really admiring, oh God. I've got a copy of Kindred by Octavia Butler. Some Carver, of course, one of the best short story writers of all time. Birnam Wood is an excellent literary thriller. It was one of the best books I read last year in 2023. Don Quixote, Canterbury Tales, classics. The Alchemist. I like this book better than most people do. Before I read any Shakespeare, I read this. It tells Shakespeare stories in a lot of different ways that are easier to understand when you're a kid. Loved this thing. Some Don DeLillo, some Charles Dickens, Dostoevsky, Lydia Davis, Junot Diaz. All right, what else? Middlesex, very good novel. I've got some Faulkner here. I have more Faulkner somewhere. I don't know where it is, but this is what I've got right now. Fitzgerald, and then the start of what has become almost a complete Jonathan Franzen collection. Some nonfiction, some Malcolm Gladwell, some Robert Greene, Empire of the Summer Moon. This is probably the best nonfiction book I've ever read. Okay, we've got Jane Eyre. We've got Uglies, some Nancy Drew, more Nancy Drew. The Tale of Despereaux, Princess Academy, The Marauder's Map, and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Okay, but behind those books, it's just all mixed in. What do you know? A bunch of copies of Fumes. Check out my novella if you haven't already. This is one of my favorite notebooks. I had to get all of these books for work. That Rick Rubin book is good. More John Grisham, English literature. And then just another whole pyramid of other stuff. We're getting back into the alphabetically organized books. Amy Hempel is one of the best short story writers who has ever lived. A couple of Dune books. I'm looking forward to seeing Dune Part 2 here pretty soon. Some Ryan Holiday. The Alex Rider books, of course. Dennis Johnson. This guy is the best novella I've ever read, Train Dreams. And this guy is probably the best long novel I've ever read. A lot of Stephen King, Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is a favorite of mine. I've read it like 4 or 5 times. The Chronicles of Narnia. We got a little bit of Carson McCullers hiding up here, Moby Dick, and the start of some Toni Morrison. What I talk about when I talk about running, which is a reference to what we talk about when we talk about love by Raymond Carver, excellent short story and short story collection. This is just a memoir about him running. I read it on a plane. Some Flannery O'Connor, Wise Blood. I bought it, but I haven't read it yet. This was my favorite book series for 2, 3, 4 years in a row. The Overstory, it's about trees and the planet and our place in the universe, and it's just great. You gotta check it out. Some Philip Roth, and a massive collection of Harry Potter books. I just accrue these and never get rid of them. Some Salman Rushdie, Pedro Paramo by Juan Rolfo, Magic, one of the Septimus Heap books, some Salinger, some George Saunders, and Oh, the Places You'll Go. This is Of Mice and Men. It's a illustrated copy of Mice and Men. We've got some Václav Smil, a little more Steinbeck. I really need to read East of Eden. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. The Bartimaeus trilogy, another favorite from when I was younger. These were my mom's copies of the trilogy and The Hobbit. Twain, some Updike. Big Fish you might have heard of. This is Daniel Wallace's most popular novel. Jesmond Ward, more Jesmond Ward on my old Kindle. some Colson Whitehead, a little Walt Whitman, a little Wolf, a little Kurt Vonnegut, a little Rebecca Yarros, and then here's where the books stop being in alphabetical order again. There's also that other shelf I showed you earlier. This is my bookshelf. That's everything that's on the shelf right now. I bet you picked up a couple of new titles to try. And if you've made it this far and haven't subscribed yet,